Wall Street can bring down Main Street. And frankly, I'm going to tell you, it's a little scary.
Your company is now bankrupt. Our economy is in a state of crisis.
Did you mislead your investors? And I remind you, sir, you're under oath.
In your testimony today, right here, right now, you continue to deflect personal responsibility.
I mean, I'm going to be blunt here. People want to know if you defrauded investors.
That should be a yes or no, sir.
You don't seem to acknowledge that you did anything wrong.
You know, we talk about what happened at Lehman, and we talk about whose fault and why wasn't I on it, and my employees, my shareholders, creditors, clients have taken a huge amount of pain. I wake up every single night thinking, what could I have done differently? This is a pain that will stay with me for the rest of my life. That's all.
Senator Elizabeth Warren out with a new warning today. She says an economic crash is coming. She also claims she has a plan that could prevent it. In a new Medium post, the 2020 presidential contender writes, "I warned about an economic crash years before the 2008 crisis, but the people in power wouldn't listen." She goes on to add, "Now I'm seeing serious warning signs in the economy again, and I'm calling on regulators and Congress to act." The Massachusetts Democrat bases her prediction on a number of reasons, including growing household debt and corporate debt, and what she calls a manufacturing recession.
One of the main topics up there was cryptocurrencies and all sorts of companies now getting into this effort, not least among them Facebook. What kind of threat does this pose to the traditional banking system?
Well, I think it's, you have incumbents, the banks, commercial banks, and you have the disruptors. And clearly the disruptors are having an impact on the incumbents. We just heard a very large systemic bank here saying that they're launching their digital coin, currently piloted in a way within the institutional clients, but to be scaled beyond that. We heard from the European Central Bank that they have launched in November something that is called TIPS, that enables all the banks in the Eurozone to actually transfer instantly at virtually no cost money between them. So I think the role of the disruptors and anything that is using distributed ledger technology, whether you call it crypto assets, currencies or whatever, and it's far from the bitcoins that we used to talk about a year ago, that is clearly shaking the system. The voice that we heard, which was, I thought, really interesting, were those of the regulators and central bank governors who said, well, yes, this is good and this is helpful and it is changing the business model of commercial banks. But we have to be mindful of two things, trust and stability of the system. And we are equally concerned, we at the IMF, about stability. We don't want innovation that would shake the system so much that we would lose the stability that is needed.
Is 10 years out on the financial crisis, we still don't have the infrastructure perhaps to prevent the next one. And I think this is where digital assets can really help, because an efficient digital asset can really solve some of the key problems in global liquidity. You know, the world's got trillions and trillions of dollars tied up in liquidity just to get around how clunky the movement of value is around the world. If with a really efficient digital asset, something like XRP, again, that's what we believe will be the most efficient, you can now reduce trillions and trillions of capital from being tied up. So you can make those transfers instantly as a bank or as a payment provider or as an enterprise without having to have money pre-positioned all over the world.